Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is Times News. You're with me, Edita Soko. First, the headlines. President Lazarus Chakwera outlines his administration's plans for the mining sector in a bid to revitalize the country's economy. AstraZeneca second doses to start being administered from June 3rd. And local government finance managers stress the need for financial prudence within councils. We have these and other stories. Do stay with us. Our first story. President Lazarus Chakwera has outlined his administration's plans for the mining sector in a bid to revitalize the country's economy. The president was speaking moments ago in his address to the nation. In his speech, President Chakwera said the Tonse administration would want to use mining as a forex generator and a launchpad for Malawi's industrialization agenda. The president says although mining has been contributing less than 3% to the GDP, the industry has the potential to contribute significantly to the growth of the economy.
What I'm talking about is converting our mineral capital into development capital that benefits all Malawians for generations to come. What I'm talking about is leveraging mining to reduce Malawi's vulnerability to external shocks and to raise the living standards of our people. What I'm talking about is using mining as a foreign exchange generator and a key factor in both our job and wealth creation strategies. What I'm talking about is using mining as a launch pad for our industrialization agenda. For example, our deposits of phosphate can be used to create a fertilizer production industry, which will in turn add value to both our agriculture industry and our exports. Similarly, our deposits of heavy sands can be used to create glass manufacturing companies.
In other news, the Ministry of Health has changed the date for the beginning of the COVID-19 vaccine second dose administration from May 11 to June 3. This comes as over 300,700 people, representing about 2.7% of the targeted 11 million Malawians, have received the first doses. The administration of Oxford's AstraZeneca vaccine started on March 11, 2021, a program that was launched by President Lazarus Chakwera in Zomba. Feston Malekezo has more in this report.
Secretary for Health, Dr. Charles Mwansambo, says the ministry will soon give direction Malawians who were supposed to get the second jab in May. Mwansambo says the development comes as studies have recommended that the time to start receiving the second dose should be after 12 weeks. He says Malawi has planned to start giving out the second dose on June 3 this year. Mwansambo emphasizes that the 512,000 doses that the country received will be used for the first dose only, and that the next batch comprising 900,000 doses from COVAX facility will start arriving in the country May end. Malawi first received a batch of 360,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine in March under the COVAX program. A few weeks later, the country received other allotments of 50,000 doses from India and 102,000 doses from the African Union. Out of the 102,000 doses from AU, 16,440 doses of the vaccine got expired, which according to Mwansambo has negatively affected the current uptake. Health rights activist Maziko Matemba says Malawians should learn from what is happening in India, where most people who did not get COVID-19 vaccine have been heavily affected by the new variant of the virus in the country. Last week, 16 out of 60 Indians who came to Malawi tested positive to COVID-19 and are currently on a 2-week mandatory quarantine as directed by Minister of Health Kumbizi Kandodo Chibonda.
The Malawi Local Government Association, MAGA finance managers have stressed the need for financial prudence within councils to avoid accusations of financial abuse. MAGA finance managers chairperson Ellen Gaira and MAGA president Wild Ndipo have, however, defended the councils as having done a good job in managing finances despite some being implicated in the 6.2 billion kwacha abuse. We have more in this report.
The two made the remarks in Mangochi, where MAGA engaged the finance managers and female councillors on different days. Kaira and Ndipo argued that even some of the queries in the 6.2 billion kwacha audit report that came out of the councils could have been sorted out if the council's officials were given a chance to explain. She further indicated that each council manages a minimum of 1.5 billion kwacha every year, despite the local authorities being blamed of abusing funds.
Strengthening the unity that is there. What I should say that as finance managers, really a lot is being said that we are not prudent. But as finite, we really try to do those things. We really to abide by both the audit, the Financial Management Act, and our review meetings. Those are some of the issues that we normally discuss.
On his part, Ndipo said the local councils need to be commended.
Many to commend them for the job well done. Because much as the people had negative about the councils in the abuse of funds, it hasn't been like that. These people have done a good job. And I'm quite sure with the way they're doing, and with the MAGA, as we are also trying to bring them together so that they also interact and see maybe about how fiscal distribution has to be, you notice that we are happy.
Part of the two-day workshop with support from Spotlight Initiative was to train women councillors on gender-responsive budgeting and monitoring to strengthen their role as guardians of women and girls' rights.
Meanwhile, Vice President Saulos Chilima says very good progress has been made in the review of government systems in paying out civil servants' allowances and in procurement and contracting. Chilima, who is leading a civil service task force conducting the review, says he is certain the review will be completed within 90 days as directed by President Lazarus Chakwera. Matthews Kasanda has the details.
On February 14, 2021, Chakwera made a directive that a task force should be set and make a review, as well as come up with suggestions on how the civil service can be restructured. Giving an update, Chilima has indicated that the task force has been holding a series of meetings and consultations, adding that a good progress has been made. Chilima says the task force is certain that it is going to deliver within the time frame and that a good quality product will come out. The Vice President has further indicated that in the process, the task force has also consulted members of the general public on different topical issues. He has indicated that the task force will soon be announcing when exactly will the results and suggestions be submitted to Chakwera. Recently, there have been calls from different stakeholders, including the Office of the Ombudsman, for the need to review the allowance system in the government's ministries, departments, and agencies. Partly, the call came against the background of alleged abuse of the 6.2 billion kwacha COVID funds.
Now, hard-to-reach areas in Nkhani district are registering high cases of early marriages, a situation being attributed to a lack of sensitization. In Usisia, for example, statistics show that 35 girls were rescued from early marriages last year, and this year 12 have had their early marriages terminated and been sent back to school. Patience Lunda has more.
A child protection worker in Usisia, Vidumiko Gandali, said the tendency of marrying underage girls seems to have no end because people have normalized it, as others have embraced it as a cultural practice. Parents do not see it as a violation of human rights because they receive money from the suitors. The area's development committee chairperson, Mary Kawale, said children in the area lack role models as the only fancy profession in the area is fishing. The situation has prompted Girls Empowerment Network, GNET, to start a project which aims at ending early marriages and all forms of abuses against girls in traditional authorities of Nkarabe district by empowering community structures to champion the initiative. Genet Project Officer Juliet Msosa said the areas selected are those that have been registering high cases of early marriages and gender-based violence. However, Msosa observed that community structures are failing to reach out to other areas due to transportation challenges, as the area is surrounded by a lake and forked with hills.
Mbwana is one of the hard-to-reach areas, so due to that it's really affected, especially on issues of awareness, so that people should understand what is child marriage, what is gender-based violence, how can we end gender-based violence. So we as an organization, we have strengthened the structure at TA level, where we have comprised all the community structures to make sure that they are there to support the initiative.
The community structures that have been tasked to end early marriages include mother groups, police, village development committees, and child protection workers.
Youth Empowerment Forum on Saturday officially launched its Southern Region office in Chilobwe Township in Blantyre. Youth Empowerment Forum General Secretary Grace Gondwe said the organization is geared to empower youth to use their maximum potential as citizens and ensure youth transition well into adulthood with the skills, capacities, and sustainable livelihoods. Llewellyn Impasa has filed this report. While aiming at creating a better quality of life for the youth through self-control, decision-making skills, and pro-social connectedness, Youth Empowerment Forum applies local-level advocacy for social accountability between young citizens and duty bearers. Speaking during the event, YEP General Secretary Grace Gondwe said they are geared to utilize young people's potential as agents of change.
Our Youth Empowerment Forum, it's an organization which is aimed at empowering the youth, whereby we want to utilize the capabilities of young people so that they should contribute to the developments, different developments and activities that will benefit Malawians. Let the government of Malawi recognize us young people, because we have got a very big potential that we can contribute towards the development of the nation. So if the government can work hand in hand with us, more especially us, the Youth Empowerment Forum members, we promise to produce more.
Southern Region Chairperson Maxon Pombea said the youth face disproportionate social, economic and political barriers which prevent them from unleashing their full potential. He says YEP is working to advance young people's participation in civic and political life.
We are moving forward and we want to fulfill our vision so that we can go further by helping other men to be empowered. There are so many things we want to do. We want to start our own business so that we can grow Malawi, we can go take Malawi another stage.
Youth Empowerment Forum seeks to establish an effective platform where youth may participate and pursue their own visions pertaining to development and their overall well-being. You're watching the news on Times Television, TTV. We'll be back shortly.
Ikolole kungonjezera mayunitsi atnm kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tikolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera mayunitsi ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira mabonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
Define your surroundings with the color of your choice. Make it warm, creative, friendly, and vibrant. Coat textures, durable color options, with up to 1,200 color shades to choose from. Be it economy range or premium range paints, innovative paint and color technology in every drop. Available in Blantyre, Build Africa, and Limby Corner Mart Building, and in Lilongwe, along M12 Road, close to Gateway Mall. Tropical Paints, your world in color.
When it comes to food, we all have our preferences. Say Sima, for example. Some like it soft. Some like it hard. And others, well, they like it medium. But whatever your preference, the flour that you use matters. Imagine a flour that has been a quality product for generations, ready-made, conveniently available, full of vitamins and minerals, better than any other, trusted by families for decades. Sunshine cream of maize and Snow White Ufoera, just how you like it.
Welcome back. One of the country's savings and credit cooperatives, Umodzi Sacco, has said the year 2020 was good for business despite the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Umodzi Sacco President Steve Chilongo was speaking in Lilongwe during the Sacco's annual general meeting. We have more in this report by Daonga Sabora.
According to Chilongo, the Sacco managed to put in place some strategies to hedge against the harmful effects of COVID-19. This, according to Chilongo, resulted in the Sacco's assets jumping above 1 billion kwacha.
Much as liquidity was a problem to most Saccos, liquidity was not a problem to Umodzi Sacco. And maybe the asset that we use most is group loans. We are a payroll-based institution where once one gets a loan, it is deducted on the payroll. But we have this group loan as one which ensures that we have liquidity all through, simply because once the loans are collected by the treasurer of respective groups, they bring cash to the office.
Malawi Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives Business Development Manager Ezekiel Tindwa urged other Saccos to borrow a leaf from Umodzi Sacco.
Well, it's quite indeed a challenging environment, not only for Saccos, but the nations as well, and all businesses. It has trickled down even to individuals. However, I would like to say that some Saccos, they have taken COVID as an advantage because they have come up with new products responding to the environment. But some Saccos have been heavily affected.
According to Umodzi Sacco President Steve Chilongo, the Sacco is eyeing an asset base of above 2 billion kwacha this year.
And in international news, amid a surge of COVID-19 cases in India and other parts of the world, the Biden administration in the U.S. remains non-committal on a proposal to loosen patent restrictions so that countries can manufacture generic versions of the coronavirus vaccines. White House correspondent Patsy Widakuswara has this report for the VOA.
Desperate Indians wait in line for vaccinations as the country's coronavirus crisis deepens, with the daily death toll climbing above 3,600.
We are searching oxygen all over India, all over Delhi, to Chandigarh, Ludhiana, Haridwar, Jaipur, and all over nearby cities.
In October 2020, at the World Trade Organization, India and South Africa proposed the so-called TRIPS waiver, which would allow countries to make generic versions of the vaccine. The proposal continues to languish without backing from the European Union and the United States. 100 million Americans have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But speaking on board Air Force One on Friday, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said President Joe Biden still has not decided on vaccine patent waivers.
Our overall objective is to provide as much supply to the global community and do that in a cost-effective manner.
Waiver proponents, including the progressive wing of Biden's Democratic Party and humanitarian organizations, say that it could be a game changer in the global fight against the pandemic.
I think TRIPS waiver is one of the critical tools that can empower government to address the current situation of scarcity of supply.
But the administration is also under pressure from pharmaceutical companies who say that rather than waiving patents, the quickest way to help countries in need is by accelerating existing production lines and donating doses. An intellectual property waiver would not help accelerate COVID-19 vaccine access or address the very real supply chain and logistical constraints, an industry spokesperson told VOA. Even Bill Gates, the billionaire philanthropist and driving force behind COVAX, the UN mechanism to improve low and middle income countries' access to vaccines, is against waiving patents.
It makes very little sense. And this is a mistake on his part. And sometimes we should listen to billionaires when it comes to things on global health, but sometimes we really shouldn't. And this is one where we don't want to listen.
To reduce global vaccine inequity, Gates is instead pushing for technology transfer, where the private sector invests in new manufacturing capacity and shares know-how with emerging economies. He spoke at the Munich Security Conference in February.
Part of the way to solve that inequity is to get factories in India up in full speed. That's already happening with AstraZeneca. It'll happen with 2 of the others. And to get the financing.
The proposal to waive vaccine patent is supported by more than 80 WTO members, 60 former heads of states, and 100 Nobel Prize winners. It will again be in focus at the WTO General Council meeting on May 5th. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News.
And with that story, we come to the end of the news tonight. But before we go, the headlines again. President Lazarus Chakwera outlines his administration's plans for the mining sector in a bid to revitalize the country's economy. AstraZeneca second doses to start being administered from June 3rd, and local government finance managers stress the need for financial prudence within councils. You've been with me, Elita Sokom. You can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website, www.times.mw. You may like our Facebook page, Times360 Malawi, and follow us on Twitter at Times360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distancing, and mask up. Please stay safe and have a lovely night.
Kodi mukudziwa kuti ife alilongo water board tili ndi call center yomwe inakhazikitsidwa kuti